like you're around the house.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Daniel A. Nelson Podcast Show. This is the place where we play and talk about the music you love. And I'm going live today with my mentor. I got my little mic for my birthday, so hopefully you guys can hear me better. I am live with my mentor, Mr. Richard Turner. Give it up for Mr. Richard Turner. Yeah.
Yay.
Man, what's been going on in life?
Man, it's life has been going.
Oh, my goodness. Look, for my audience, for those who don't know, I met this gentleman. I was about maybe 14, 15 years old,
Wow.
and he has instilled so much into my life, and I finally got him. He is a phenomenal keyboard player. Um, let's just dive right into it.
All
Uh,
right.
who inspired you to start playing the way you play?
Well, I started playing with my dad when I was younger, and my uncle, my dad's brother,
Okay.
uh, older brother, he used to come visit from Houston, Texas, and he would come and he would just play, and I'd be like, "Wow, look at the way he's playing." And my dad played too, but my
Right.
dad did more gospel and just played in church. But
Okay.
he was playing all kind of stuff. And then my that's on my dad's side. And on my mother's side, I had an uncle that played like a monk. And he would sometimes be playing, and I'd come in the room and I say, "Oh, show me that up." He'll stop playing. He would never play in front of me, but I can hear him when I would come to my grandmother's house.
Man, this was like
And so I
Thelonious
had it
Monk.
from both sides of my family, from my mother's side and my father's side.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest trigger. And then as time went on, of course, I got inspired by a lot of the greats, starting with Art Tatum,
Yeah.
Nat King Cole,
Yeah.
Oscar Peterson, Bobby Lau, George Duke, and Joe Sample,
Yeah.
Ramsey Lewis. So that list just goes on.
Yeah. Man, how old were you when you got that bug?
I had to be 10 or 11
Wow.
because the very first time I played at church, I think I was 10. I couldn't even reach the pedals. They used to have these little events like Thumb Thumb Wedding, they called them, and it was
Yeah.
where they have these kids get married, pretend like they get married to raise money at the
Right.
church. And I had to play the wedding march on the organ. My feet couldn't even reach the pedal, and that was at Progressive Baptist Church right there on Western in town, Western and Imperial, right up in
Oh
that
my
area.
goodness. Hey Richard, what was your first public gig? That was your first public gig right there?
I would say that was probably my first breakout. Yes,
Man.
but as far as my first paid public gig, I think was when I played for I was over the church youth choir,
Okay.
and I played for that, and I think they paid me $35. I
Oh, you're rolling in, huh?
was a high roller then. I was a
Oh,
high roller at 15.
right. Yeah. Um, what is it that makes people quit in the music business as far as the playing? Because I know sometimes it can get complicated. Some people just get that first initial bite and they want to go on.
It's a hard business. It's a you have to do it even if you don't get paid. You have to have a drive to do it. In other words, it's good to get paid. You want to get paid.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a big part of why you do it. You want to make a career of it,
Right.
but there has to be you would do it if you didn't get paid
Gotcha.
because it's so in you and you want to get it out of you. It's just, that's what makes it hard because it's hard to to do that and to survive in society when the music business is very challenging.
Okay,
So
right. Yeah, yeah. Got you. Because that led me to this question, as far as the challenges and the journey of what we do. And I know I've been playing for quite a while, and I know you've been playing even longer than I have, of course.
50 plus.
Right, right. So but so give my fans a little bit about the journey, because I right now sometimes we live a high and people see that, and especially with the social media stuff that goes on now. But explain to my audience some of the personal things of your musical journey. How you probably shied on. Well, I'll let you talk about it.
Well, the biggest thing about the music journey, it's a major sacrifice. Starting with the initial start of it. Number one, you're not going to, if you're really trying to make a life of it, you find yourself not going outside with all the other kids. You find yourself separate from everybody.
Mm,
You find that your process of thinking about things is totally different than the common.
yeah,
Uh, then, as you get on the journey, you know you can't make people like what you're thinking about or feeling because it's not common. So
yeah,
that makes it very, very challenging because it's like, no, can you play such and such? Well, what about what I'm feeling like playing? No, can you play the hottest song or, and that whole thing with the hottest song, that has to do with the hottest song has to do with what's being promoted, what's got money behind it.
right.
So if you don't have money behind what you're trying to do,
Mm,
then you're chasing it. At the same time, you gotta live. So that journey becomes very difficult without the right support or the
mm,
right environment or opportunity,
yeah,
I would say.
man. You know what? That's powerful because I remember back in the day, we're dating ourselves back at Penuel.
Oh,
You had mentioned something to me, uh,
wow.
sort of like that, and that stuck with me.
Wow.
And yeah, 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 about expressing me. You know, and then just recently, we spoke of that, and
Yes.
that's one of the hardest challenges because what you said is so true. I mean, you're out trying to please the people because you're trying to get that check, to pay that water bill and all that great stuff. But the expression that you want to do on your own. And that brings me to this question. What made you branch out and say, okay, I'm going to play what I love to play? I mean, along with some of the great music, because I know you do some covers and stuff like that, things of that nature. But what made you break out and decide to do that and express what's in you?
Uh, a big part of my journey was, I started playing for a lot of different artists. Uh, and I went and played for this one artist, and that artist just told me, uh, "Hey, man, I don't think you can play for me." And I'm thinking, but that's what I came to do. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, when I get up from the piano, I need to hear me. I don't hear me. I hear somebody. I hear you. So maybe you should go and play you and stop trying to play for other people."
Wow.
Because they were saying, "Hey, I don't hear myself. I hear something different. And when I get up, I got to hear me." And
Wow.
and it kind of messed me up pretty bad, you
Yeah.
know. And but then he said, let me tell you the other side of it though. Guess what? I could never play for you. In other words,
Mm.
you be you, I be me. Go home and do you.
Wow. Yeah, that had to hurt though. I mean, my goodness,
It did.
that's
It did
that's a,
because this person, was well established and it was somebody that I admired
yeah.
quite heavy. And when they told me that, it was like it was kind of devastating. But the best part of it is when he said, just like you can't play for me, I I'm listening to you and I can't play for you. I can't do what you do. You know.
Right.
The difference was this is the key. The difference was this person was established, I wasn't.
Uh,
So a lot of times when you're in those predicaments where you're playing for somebody that's established and your name is not as established, then you kind of feel like, yeah, but nobody want to listen to me. Nobody, I'm not in a position to go home and do me and make a living out of it or make a life of it. So
huh.
it's uh somewhat learning how to balance that and believing. You have to believe in what God has given you, basically.
Okay.
If I'm talking from a spiritual standpoint, or
Yeah.
you got to believe in, you know, what people share with you, what they are hearing. And there's a lot of times, you know, uh, I'm not one that want to toot my own horn, and most people don't want to, say, "Well, I'm good," or or
Yeah.
because it comes across as something else.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
sometimes you got to pay attention to the responses, pay attention to the value of it, uh, and how to protect it, how to make sure you
Right.
don't allow peers to make you feel less than because you don't do a certain thing or play a certain way.
Wow.
So
See, you know what? See, now some of the stuff that you had told me years ago, what you're saying now, you told me a lot of this stuff years ago, and I don't know why you put that in my spirit, but I feel like, for instance, I know a lot of people who can play really good, and I hate to use the words as far as they rely on a crutch. You know, they join another band or play for another church just for that security, and they're afraid to step out. Uh, what can you say to that?
ask the question again. You was breaking up just a little bit.
I said, okay, I was saying that there's a lot of people, what you just said, you had stepped out and everything, but there are a lot of people who use certain bands or they play for another church and things of that nature, and they use it for a crutch just to make that check. What do you say to that? Do you tell people like, okay, it's still your time to kind of do what you're supposed to be doing, and
It it
you know
it
how
like
do you?
it's it takes a big part of believing and faith and realizing that you have something to share, and
Gotcha.
that's not always easy, and it could be in anything. You could be an artist, but um you know I'll just say it this way. When I was in college, I didn't go to college to pursue music because I saw too many
Okay.
of my friends, too many people I knew that was struggling. Even major artists that were on labels, some of them, struggling. And I'm saying, well, I won't be able to buy a car, I won't be able to buy a house, I won't be able to, have the basic things going after this
Yeah.
career. So I went after careers that I knew that would pay me. Like, okay, so
Gotcha.
I did a couple of years of accounting. I did a couple of years of business law. I really got into computers because at the time computers was like the big
Yeah.
career, guaranteed career. So
Yeah.
it's like eventually I ended up doing music because that's where my heart was. It was
Okay.
difficult, but I had to step out and believe and have faith that that's what God has given me to uh,
Yeah.
to do, and whatever He gives you to do, I know for a fact He gives it to you. First of all, in full. He doesn't give it to you in pieces and parts. He give it to you full, in order for you to be able to provide, and that way it glorifies Him because it's not something
Mm.
you know you
Yeah.
did. It's nothing you did.
Right, right. Okay, tell my audience, how did you land the gig with Eric Darius?
How did I land that?
Yeah, yeah. Tell my audience how you got that gig.
uh, Eric Eric came here and he was playing at the Long Beach, the boat, the big boat. What's that big boat in Long Beach?
The Queen Mary.
Queen Mary.
Was it Queen Mary? Yeah.
I think it's Queen Mary, yeah. And I think he was doing like solo tracks or something. Anyway, my bass player and drummer, Ronnie Kaufman and Ronnie Roseborough, they were playing for another group and they saw him there and he came on stage. I guess he must have opened up or something. And they called me while he was playing and said, "Hey Richard, this young kid here from Florida, he's something else, man." And I think Grover
Yeah.
had passed. And they said, "Man, this cat is the next Grover, man. This kid is unbelievable." And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, I've heard them all. I'm not interested."
Right.
And so we hung up. And then they called me back again. They said, "Hey, man, look, the dad approached us and asked us about putting a band together for him because he's going to be coming to LA doing more work. Uh, uh, man, you just come on, just do this for us. Just take the hit for us." And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, I'm not
Right.
really interested." They said, "Come on, man, just at least come here, kid." And so they set up a rehearsal at the church and everything. So I didn't really want to do it, but I said, "Okay, I'll go and check this out." So I went and checked it out, and I was at a rehearsal, and the kids start playing, and I kind of my head went like this and went like that, and I said, "Wait a minute." So I was like, "Is this real? This kid is really has this old soul like this and play like this and and without error, without flaw." It was like, "No, this can't be." And so happened, the my bass player, he was going to be the MD. He said, "Look at here, man. I you need to be the MD because Eric
Mm.
reminds me of you. You are kind of like him. So it'd be
Yeah.
better. He needs somebody like you to be the MD." And so
Gotcha.
that's how I became his music director. And so I'm checking this kid
Okay.
out. And so I think right after that, he had like Spaghettinis and then Catalina
Yeah.
Island. So
Right.
I kind of said, "Okay, let me check out this CD." And I checked out his CD, kind of wrote all of his solos out.
Okay.
So, I had to study him in order to know what and what
Mm.
not, and how I was gonna help with the band around him to support him.
Mm.
And so we get to the next rehearsal, and I think I said something like, uh, is that what you played on your record or something like that?" And he said, "No, what I play?" And I said, "Well, here it is right here." And he came and looked, and he was able to read. His reading was unreal. I said, "Wait a minute, this can't be true. This can't be true."
Wow.
But he remembered everything. He adapt fast. It was like he was just natural, totally
Yeah.
natural. It's totally God,
Yeah.
just a God gift. It's like it was unbelievable. And so I said, "Okay, there's a great possibility here." And so we did Spaghettinis, sold out both shows. Both shows was just
Uh,
wonderful. Then I think
yeah.
that same week or that next week, we went to Catalina, and you know, he was young, so therefore it was a couple of things that my bass player and the other and my drummer kept saying, "Hey man, you gonna tell him about those things?" And it's just like little stage stuff, like
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
don't turn your back to the stage, or you know
Right.
how you announce a song, or but he was fired. He just would go. I mean, nonstop. He just goes, and he plays a
That is
lot
so
of
cool.
notes, and it's like, and
Yeah.
so as I was saying stuff to him, when I said something to it, he said, "Oh, okay, 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 okay." He Before I can even finish saying what I was saying, he would say, "Okay." and he would do it with without flaw. And so we went to
Man.
Catalina. He got, I think, new artist of the year. The next year he got performance of the year. So it just kind of just started building, and then
Yeah.
it just went on for almost 18 plus years, almost 20 years of that
Man.
relationship. But I was able to learn a lot from him, and I think he learned a lot
Yeah.
from.
That is so cool because I think that's the key thing. I know we mentioned this again. I bring this up because not to brag or anything like that, but since I've been knowing you for such a long time, there are a lot of nuggets that you gave me, and like some of the questions I'm asking you, you've already had said it, but you know what you do, you have impacted others in their musicianships, and not only that, but friendship. You have a certain respective level of people in the totality thing, and that's appreciative to me because you taught me stuff like that. So it's more than just, hey, let's do a gig. It's getting to know the person and the vibe of the person that helps you play much better instead of like, hey, we're getting together, hey, Joe, what you doing Friday?
Right.
Let's play, that type of thing. So I really do appreciate that. I don't want to tie you up too long because I usually try to keep my show about 30 minutes,
Yeah.
but
Well,
we're
let
going to
me
have to do
just
a part
comment
two.
on what you said, because that's really huge. When
Yeah.
all is said and all is done, and when all is finished, the music was only the part that connected us. But
Right.
what's most important is the relationship, because that's what come across on stage. If the right relationship and everybody is going in the same direction, it translates to your audience that way, in
Yeah.
such a big way, where it creates something opposite what our society does and what it's doing now. And so
Yeah.
I think that's why it was a long lasting musical relationship, because it went beyond. It's being concerned with the person beyond the music.
Yeah. Well, you taught us that back in the 80s, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. At Penuel, when we have workshops and stuff like that, you mentioned stuff like that. And that's what I try to do with even the musicians that I'm surrounded by right now. I try to build a relationship because it is much easier to play. But look, Richard, this is what I want to do, man. We're gonna have to have a part two on this one because
All
you are
right.
filled with so much information,
All
and we're
right.
gonna make it real soon. Man, I am so grateful. You guys give it up for my good friend, my brother, my mentor, Mr. Richard Turner. Yes!
Mr. Danny
And we'll be
Nelson.
doing
I
it
love it.
again, man.
All right.
Man, I love you very much, man. And we'll be talking, brother.
I look for the part two.
All right. Be blessed, man.
All right then. Bye.
All right.